If you like a good alien conspiracy story undermined by deceptive lesbianism, I might have the book for you. Hello everyone, I am Triple J and welcome to Brain Food, where I tell you what's yummy and nutritious for your head. For today's episode, I'm going to be reviewing Malinda Lo's Adaptation, which is about two teenagers who find themselves at the heart of an alien conspiracy after they're saved from a horrific car accident by being experimented with alien DNA. If you may not know, Malinda Lo is an established young adult author who made waves with Ash, which is basically a lesbian retelling of Cinderella, and Huntress, a story in which two young women bring balance back to the forces of nature and magic. In Adaptation, Malinda Lo moves from the worlds of fantasy to sci-fi. However, in doing so, she makes some missteps that I feel hamper the story to the point where I really couldn't enjoy it. The story revolves primarily around the character of Reese Holloway, who is a part of the debate team at her high school, and whose partner, David Lee, she has a budding crush on. While coming back from a failed debate tournament, birds act in wild and unreal fashion, crashing planes all across North America, and generally setting off a mood of panic, as society, well, almost kind of breaks down there for a little bit. In trying to get back home after their debate teacher is killed, the two are involved in a terrible crash, and that's where they're taken to a secret facility and experimented upon with alien DNA, which gives them powers of, so far, regeneration and psychic abilities. Malinda Lo has an excellent writing style, and it really comes through here, up to a certain point. That is to say, through Reese's eyes, well, we get to see that she's dealing with all of this stuff that's just coming at her, suspecting that she has, these secret powers, and her feelings for David, and the world recovering from the after effects of birds crashing planes left, right, and center. And of course, she also finds out that she has things for a girl. And by things for a girl, I mean that she's about as straight as a wet noodle. There were definitely a couple of things I really appreciated about Reese's romantic interests in this book, which is that, well, one, when her mom finds her and Amber making out in her bedroom, she's not shocked or angry or dismayed. She's actually quite fine with it. She even says at one point, hey, I grew up in San Francisco. You didn't think I kissed a girl? So there's that. I mean, one of her best friends is like, well, yeah, if you like boys, you like girls, you might be pretty much, well, bisexual. And how often is it that we get a protagonist who is bisexual that isn't just some cheap excuse for, killing off the female love interest and just putting her with a male love interest? Cough, cough, the 100. And of course, there's also the fact that David Lee, who is Asian, is a love interest, that she finds him attractive, not only physically, but also, intellectually. And I really appreciated that. We got some nice diversity going on here. However, it's about the midway point of this book that I felt it really began to fall apart with some really problematic elements. We find out that Amber is actually an alien. Then we find out that she's the daughter of the alien scientist that experimented on both Reese and David to heal them and give them these abilities. So basically we have a deceptive lesbian who really preyed on, this young girl. I think Reese is about maybe 16, 17 years old. And even though she has feelings for her, it really left a bad taste in my mouth, because at the halfway point after we discover this, both Reese and David are taken by federal agents to be experimented upon and checked up on, and we find out more of the backstory about these aliens. And I could see it coming, and it happens, and it just... I basically just flip. You can't see my hand. I was going flip, fast. Because it's basically Amber's deception that drives Reese into David's arms. And it felt really stereotyped and kind of disgusting. And I just did not appreciate it whatsoever. It's still really difficult for me to articulate just why this bothered me so much. Basically, in having, the deceptive lesbian really taking advantage of this character, it almost seems like it tries to invalidate Reese's bisexuality, and driving her into David's arms, like she discovers, oh, David's always been around, David's always been there for her, David's always been reliable and trustworthy. I literally almost gagged when it got to that part of the book. I just, again, when I was reading it, I would go, no, to the point where everything else, the rather almost inhumane way in which Reese and David are checked up on and subjected to these experiments to test their abilities, I was just, end. I don't care. End the book. Get to the end of the story. I just kept on swiping pages. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I suppose what really does bother me is that this thrusting together of David and Reese and their relationship, it feels like a cheerleader for straightness, as if to say, shoo, back away, lesbianism, which is a bit strange because from what I'm told, Malinda Lo is a lesbian herself. The other thing that really got to me is that we know almost nothing else about David Lee. We know that he's part of the debate team. We know that he's a swimmer, also part of the swim club, so he's in good shape. But we really don't get to spend any time with them. While the story does take place from Reese's point of view, it's done from a third-person perspective. So we spend almost no time with David, and then just to have them just go like that, it feels awkward and strained, and something that I would read in maybe a Stephanie Meyer book. And I've read The Host. Now, while the story ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, where Reese and David go out to meet the press after the conspiracy has been aired to the world, I really can't be bothered to pick up the second book, Inheritance. It had potential, but it really squandered it by around the halfway point. I just can't be bothered. I honestly wouldn't recommend it. Read something else. Just read anything else. Heck, maybe even read Malinda Lo's earlier books, Ash and Huntress. Those are much better books than this one is. I'm Triple J. That's all we got left to say. Take care.